In this video, we're going to continue writing and solving equations to find missing values. So this first one says write and solve an equation to find the value of x. We've got 34 and x, and they fall on a straight line. So the first thing it's going to ask us is what's the angle relationship, how do we know, and what does this mean? Well, because they fall on a straight line, we call these two angles supplementary. They're also adjacent, but adjacent doesn't really mean anything. So I'm going to use supplementary here. These two angles are supplementary angles. How do we know they fall on a straight line? And what does this mean? Their sum is 180 degrees. So 34 plus x is equal to 180 degrees. And the inverse of adding 34 is subtracting 34. If I do it to one side of the equal sign, then I have to do it to the other. And 180 minus 34 is equal to 146. 34 minus 34 is 0, so those cancel out, and I'm just left with x is equal to 146 degrees. Does that make sense? 146 plus 34 is 180. These are supplementary angles because they fall on a line, so my answer seems reasonable and makes sense. For number 6, what's the angle relationship here? Again, they're supplementary. Gets a little repetitive, but that's okay. That's good for us. How do we know? They fall on a line. And what does that mean? They have a sum of 180 degrees. So now it asks us to write and solve the equation to find the value of x. We know that their sum means add, is 180. So 149 plus 13x plus 5 is equal to 180 degrees. Because of the commutative property of addition, we can add in any order. And so 149 and 5 are the like terms here. They're both constant terms. 149 plus 5 is equal to 154. So I have 13x plus 154 is equal to 180. Now I have to get my variable term isolated, so I'm going to use inverse operations. The inverse of adding is subtracting. And if I do it to one side, then I have to do it to the other. So 13x is equal to 180 minus 154, which is 26. And then the inverse of multiplying by 13 is dividing by 13. So I'm going to do that to both sides, using the fraction bar to show division. And when I do that, I get x is equal to 2. 13 divided by 13 is 1, so I'm left with just x. 26 divided by 13 is 2. And so my answer here is x equals 2. If I plug 2 back in up here, 13 times 2 equals 26, plus 5 is 31. And then 31 plus 149, I'm double checking to make sure that that does equal 180 since these are supplementary. And it does, and so my answer checks and makes sense. I know that x is equal to 2 because of that.